Welcome back to Old Tavern Farm. We're getting close to Halloween now, and something I like to do this time of year is I like to start my baking for the holidays, and I like to clean out my freezers. And one thing that I have come across, how familiar is this? Yeah, it's not very attractive. I know, it's just frozen bananas. Nothing scary, nothing spooky, just frozen bananas. They've turned brown, but they're really, really good for baking when they're like this. Okay? So what I'm going to share with you guys today is a recipe I make at school, and the kids love it. So it is banana chocolate chip muffins, and I make them by the dozens. I'm going to share with you, I'm going to post a link to this. They are actually on Amazon. I think they're $7.99 on Amazon. I got them at a local Amish shop. They're like $5.95. But nonetheless, you get 500 of these things. You can keep them for the entire year of baking cupcakes and cookies and muffins and cupcakes. So without further ado, this recipe is going to use the 1 ounce scoop that I have, but if you like a bigger muffin, you can use a 2 or 3 ounce scoop, or you can use 2 or 3 of these in each cup. I've lined mine already. But I wanted you guys to have this recipe because my kids at school, the kids I bake for, love it. And it seems like banana and chocolate would be a weird combination, but they love each other. Along with pumpkin and chocolate chip, they can also do the same thing and put some pumpkin in here. Banana pumpkin chocolate chip, or just pumpkin chocolate chip. Either way, it's all good. So without further ado, I'm going to step over here and grab all my ingredients, and we're going to get started. Okay? I start by using 2 cups of all-purpose flour. You can certainly use bread flour or even cake flour if you have it. Just use what you have. Then I use 3/4 white sugar, and I have mine here in my half-gallon mason jar. And I will post a link to this recipe, or I'll just post the recipe in the description box. It's 6 ingredients. So 3/4 cup white sugar. And with the muffin technique, we mix the dry ingredients first, and then the wet ingredients, and then we combine them. So I'm going to take a tablespoon of baking powder, and I like to put my dry ingredients in separate spots in my bowl so I can remember if I've already added them if I get sidetracked, which happens a lot. Then I'm going to add just about 1/8 or 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Don't skip this step. You definitely need the salt. Then I'm going to take my whisk, and I'm just going to whisk the dry ingredients together so that they're fully incorporated, because one thing you don't want to do with a muffin is overmix, or you'll get a tough muffin. And nobody likes a tough muffin. All right, just a little whisking will be fine. All right, then I'm going to take my wet ingredients, and I'm going to add to I have about 1.5 cups of overripe bananas in this bowl. That is 5 small bananas, and they can either be frozen or fresh, doesn't matter, and we're just going to squish them together. And to this bowl, I'm going to add 3 eggs. And these are my eggs I just got out of the hen house yesterday, rolling around on the counter. And I like to take a dish separately, especially with my hen eggs that just come right from the hen house. If there's one that's bad, then it doesn't get added right to my main bowl. So I add them separately in a smaller dish. And look at those nice orange yolks. And then I'm going to add these 3 eggs to my bananas. And I'm going to mix them around. Break up those yolks. And then we're just going to continue mixing. Now the next ingredient that we're going to use is another part of the liquid component to muffins is buttermilk. You can use sweet milk if you like, if that's what you have, but I really do prefer buttermilk in a quick bread, which is what a muffin is. The acid in the buttermilk reacts with the baking powder, and it just gives a little more lift to the baked good. And also there's a little tang to it, which is really nice. So I'm going to add 1 cup of buttermilk, and I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of oil, liquid oil, and this is just plain olive oil, not extra virgin, which you could certainly use, but you can use whatever you have, just use it. You could even use melted butter. Got a little visitor there. This is a farm after all, and we're not quite to winter yet, so we still do have a few flies flying around. That's okay, we'll just shoo them off. Then I'm just going to mix this, the wet component here, just a little bit of mixing. And don't bang your spoon on your bowl, my mother would say. And then I'm just gonna use my whisk to break up the bananas a little bit more. I know the kids would love to get their hands in there and just break up those bananas, and certainly that's something fun you can do with the kids to involve them in the kitchen recipes. Sometimes you do have to get your hands in there and get everything out of the whisk. Things tend to catch up in the whisk. It's all right. And then we're just going to mix a little bit, and then we're going to take our wet ingredients, our dry ingredients rather, and we're going to mix the dry ingredients in with the wet ingredients. This is a classic muffin technique. Mix them separately and then mix them together. And that gives you that instant lift and that sort of tender quality that you don't get with other types of mixing techniques. At this point, I'm going to add in my semi-sweet chocolate chips. And I got these at my local co-op. Very affordable. If I add the chocolate chips to the batter at this stage, I don't risk over mixing by mixing the wet and dry ingredients first and then mixing the chocolate chips in. I kind of try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak. So I get those all mixed in. Again, even if you have a few pockets of dry, it's fine. You don't want to overmix. So that's about what you're going to have lumps. You're going to have big pockets of banana fiber. That's okay. Just don't overmix it. And then I'm going to use my 1 ounce scoop, and I'm going to just sort of overfill them. Just go along, fill each cup up. And if you get a mess on there, don't worry about it. You can always wash it off later. If you want really exact muffins, and if you're a very exact person, then invest in getting a 2, 3, 4 ounce scoop, different sizes. They are graded by the color of the handle. Years ago, there used to be a number on the dasher, and these days they just are using a color coding system to denote the ounce size in each scoop. Then I just sometimes go back, because life isn't perfect, and I just add to the cups that look like they're a little bit undernourished with batter and get it to where I like to have it. And then we're going to set the extra aside, and we'll do another round of tins later. And we're going to take it to the oven and bake at 350 for 17 minutes. So there we are. Your own big platter of beautiful banana chocolate chip muffins, lightly sweetened with white sugar, but mostly sweetened with the sweet sugar found in ripe bananas. I prefer these just a little more bite-sized than some of the gigantic boutique style muffins. but you can certainly use a larger scoop. This makes 16, let's count, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. 18 sort of 1 ounce beautiful muffins. If you want to make a dozen muffins, just use a larger scoop and maybe add a few minutes to the bake time. Once again, you're going to bake these at 350 for 17 minutes on this size and 350 for maybe 20 to 22 minutes on a larger size. But just play around with it. They're not complicated. They're just muffins. You've just got a few ingredients, and if you mess it up, then do it over. So get yourself some overripe bananas and a bag of chocolate chips and have a wonderful time. So without further ado, thank you for visiting. Big hugs. Hug, 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 hug. Bye-bye.